Okay, I hope you enjoyed those first two videos. Now video 3 will be history about Fort Stevens and the Peter Iredale. I'm going to be mispronouncing a lot of things. Don't come for me. I apologize. Really, I'm just bad at this. I'll try to stick to the script. Again, wish me luck. Now, with Fort Stevens and the Peter Iredale and even Cape Disappointment, which I'll get to, I found a personal connection. My interest being part of an extensive military family covering many eras of U.S. history, and even today we're spread amongst all branches. We're everywhere. You can't escape my family. Anyways, I've got more information on Cape Disappointment in a second. The images I captured make up little bits of each video because it's not as an extensive area as Fort Stevens was. Now, shipwrecks as the Iredale is a significant remnant of history behind the name the Graveyard of the Pacific. Well, one that can be seen today outside of a museum that you can touch and even stand inside to do selfies. That's pretty cool. The Iredale's truths still have a bit of mystery, though documents can be found stating otherwise. But again, these were businessmen, and yeah. The Peter Iredale was a commercial ship that left Mexico full of cargo and a crew of about 24 men, give or take. And it was noted as being witnessed crossing the unpredictable Pacific waters towards the Columbia River and later disappeared behind a wall of still very common thick marine fog. It was so bad while we were there that we had to use the windshield wipers just driving through it. It's very fun. The Iredale's final destination of Portland never being reached after running ashore in 1906. At what is called the Clatsop Split, just south of the Columbia River. I have images of what remains of the ship once the ship was left to be claimed by the sandy shores, later exposed by natural elements for us to see today. The cargo and crew dismissed as ordinary loss for the company who sent it. Another danger of this port, beyond the unpredictable forces of the ocean and the dangerous cloaking fog, was the existence of large rocky masses beneath the surface of the water. No one at the time had the ability to map out, and businesses, even though it would have saved them on losing their ships and people, they didn't want to contribute a dime to even trying. So, you probably saw in the Astoria video, or videos, there's images of marinas, boats of all sizes and uses, a yacht, and I was most surprised by the cruise ship. That was kind of cool. Maritime historians have reported that since 1792, approximately 2,000 or more vessels, as the Iredale, and we're talking large or small, met a terrible fate along this stretch of coast. This due to the conditions, as I mentioned, and possibly more because not all of these losses were recorded. Some were just forgotten, bad record keeping or just not caring. Also, there was a lot of traffic, a lot of boat traffic through that. So it was probably really difficult to keep track of everybody's comings and goings. There was also not just shipping movement, but there was waves of immigration from many Nordic countries, and one of them being Finland, which my mom's side blessed me with that. My dad's side, we're Vikings, so we're just flat Nordic people. Anyways, not all of these poor souls that were operating these vessels were, nor may they ever be, officially named. That for me is the saddest part because they are people. Now, Fort Stevens, as I found the same for Cape Disappointment, can be traced back to the Civil War era, both operating from the Civil War to World War II, so about 84 years, I believe. Fort Stevens was a functioning military installment that was charged with watch of the mouth of the Columbia River. Today, it's now a 4,300-acre state park, offering many amenities for the public, as well as maintaining a museum and preserving the ruins of this landmark, this fort. Cape Disappointment was more part of the Lewis and Clark story and their historic trail. Its first documented discovery was in 1775 by Bruno Hachetta, which his namesake lighthouse is actually further south. I have another video on that where we were dodging rain. And I had a note of that. Hachetta, Mr. Bruno Hachetta, at the time gave the Cape a Spanish name, which I'm going to just butcher, so I'll just give you the meaning, which is Bay of the Assumption. Sounds pretty cool. In 1778, a British trader gave it the name Cape Disappointment. So if he was a trader, I guess his business just didn't work out for him there. Now, much later in 1805, when Lewis and Clark had arrived, that name had an entirely different meaning as part of their saga. Far too much to explore today, but interesting if you choose to explore on the links I've included in the video description. There is evidence remaining of Cape Disappointment of past military presence as an outpost, leaving an iconic lighthouse, also in operation from, like I said, the Civil War to World War II. The image I have is a tiny lighthouse, and there's a rock protruding, breaking the surface of the ocean. There's a tiny lighthouse sitting on top of it. It was too far from my view to catch the weathered ruins as I was able to do exploring Fort Stevens. But it's still quite nice to learn our history anyway. So in the next segment of this part, you'll see the images I collected from that day. And then I have the last of the videos, which will be all of the coastal finds. Thanks.